that many people incur great loss in. مَغْبُونٌ. They incur great loss in terms of these two specific benefits, these two specific blessings. Number one, الصحة. How do you translate صحة? Health. Health is a blessing that people do not realize until it's taken from them. If you want to know how valuable health is, ask a sick person. If I were to offer you millions of dollars right now in place of your limbs, would you give them to me? No, you would never, because this is something that is priceless. So something that is so valuable, these limbs, your health in general, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gifted you with, wouldn't it make sense then to have that we are gifted with such an amazing blessing that you wouldn't even trade it for millions of dollars, that you use it in worship of Allah Azza wa Jalla? That if He has given you that health, would it not make sense then to use that blessing to what? Incur His pleasure and not His wrath? To aim to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by using those same limbs, by using that health that you have been gifted with in the worship of Allah? Of course. So that is one blessing that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, that people incur great loss in. Because many people have health, but how many people use that health in worship of Allah? How many people use that health that they've been gifted and granted in good and righteous things? Not many. So many people incur great loss in this. And the second thing, الصحة والفراغ, free time. Free time. Time is such a valuable commodity that you cannot purchase it. If you could purchase time, I'm telling you, it will be worth a lot. Because you cannot purchase it. Once it's gone, it's gone. You cannot purchase your time back. And so free time is something that people experience and people use, but not wisely. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he says, many people incur great loss when it comes to their free time. You want to know again how valuable free time is? Ask someone who is constantly busy. Someone who is busy with their school, someone who is busy with their work, someone who is busy with their family, someone who is busy with their wife, their kids, their parents, someone who is maybe taking care of an old parent. They have a hard time even leaving the home because they don't know what will happen to their parent, right? So al-faragh is something that is incredibly valuable and people do not make use of it. And I've said this many times, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Sharia of Islam puts a lot of emphasis on time. And you can see that emphasis displayed within the actions of the Salaf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He swears by time, different times of the day, wal-fajr, wal-layl, wal-nahar, even wal-duha, and even wal-asr, time itself, right? So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by something, it's something of great significance. And if you look at so many ibadat, so many acts of worship, they're all linked to some sort of time. Even when describing the life of the Prophet ﷺ, we describe it through time, of course. So it's something that you cannot avoid. Time is a reality that we exist in that we cannot avoid. And so when we're given free time and we're granted free time, we should not waste it. We should make use of it. Because one day it will come where you do not have that free time again. One day it will come where you will not have that free time again. Some people, when they're granted free time, they use it to read. They use it to perhaps do dhikr. They use it to perhaps listen to a lecture. They use it to perhaps read Quran. Other people, when they're granted free time, if I told you there was 24 hours in a day, now inshallah there's going to be an inflation in time. That's not going to happen. But everyone gets 2 hours extra. 2 hours extra of the day. I can tell you most people would use those 2 extra hours on Netflix. Those 2 extra hours on Hulu Plus or Disney Plus or whatever the different things are nowadays, right? But again, time is something of so much value, and we see this exemplified in the lives of the Salaf. And I'm going to mention a story where we can truly see how much the people of the past, the people that we are supposed to look up to, value time. Imam Abu Yusuf, who is considered one of the companions of Abu Hanifa, on his deathbed, a man that is on his deathbed, do you think he would be thinking other than, making, cries of, this, that, feeling incredible pain because of the fact that he's about to, enter into the next life. He's on his deathbed and he is in a coma-like state. And when he wakes up, he is in the company of the person that is doing that mentions this riwayah, and that as soon as he wakes up from that coma-like state, Abu Yusuf, rahimahullah, he asked the question to the person that's there. Ibrahim was his name. And he asks him, he says, what is better? Ramyul Jamarat, when you throw the stones, when you go for Hajj, Ramyul Jamarat, is it better to do it walking or is it better to do it while riding an animal? This is the first thing this Abu Yusuf thinks of when he gets out of his coma-like state on his deathbed. This is what he's thinking of. Can you imagine? And so Ibrahim, he responds, he says, walking, that is better. He says, no. He said, okay, riding an animal? He said, no. And then Abu Yusuf explains to him that if you intend on making dua, as is the sunnah, between the Rami al-Jamarat, then you should do it walking. But if you're intending on just throwing and passing by without making dua in between, then you should do it whilst riding an animal. That is better. And then Ibrahim, when he left that gathering, by the time he got to the door, he heard the scream of death. Basically, Abu Yusuf was taken within seconds of him leaving that gathering. And this is what he was talking about. Right? So they used so much of their time to the extent that even on his deathbed, he was making sure that he was making use of his time. No time wasted at all. So my advice to myself and to you all, we all waste time. We all have our things where we waste our time in. Some people find leisure in watching TV. Some people find leisure in sitting back, kicking back, and talking and engaging in social, social talk. Limit those things. If you have free time, make use of it. The commutes that we have, the drives that we have, everyone drives nowadays. Don't let that go to waste. Listen to Quran. Use that as an opportunity to do muraja'ah, perhaps of something you've memorized prior. Use that as a time to listen to a lecture. Use that as a time and opportunity to learn. And there are so many times of the day where we find ourselves free, but we do not do anything with that time. We need to make sure that we fill in those small gaps and we follow the example of the Aslaf, and we truly live by the message of the Quran and the Sunnah. As the Prophet ﷺ, he says, two blessings that many people incur great loss in: الصحة, health, and free time. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us barakah in our health and in our free time. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.